Hey everyone, it's Kerri. How are you? I am going live now. Okay. It always, Feng Shui has, this Facebook does this weird thing where it counts down, but then it like has the little circle spinning. So I'm never quite sure when it starts to go live. So sorry for the rough starts. Just how it is. I hope everybody's doing okay today. We got some snow. Uh, I'm so not ready for snow. Yeah, so it's snowing outside right now, and we have more than I thought we would get. We have a couple inches already, and so hopefully it melts quickly, and we're not slipping and sliding around all weekend. Um, so I wanted to talk today about some tips for you and your home over the next couple days during election day. It's really going to be kind of crazy. It has been crazy. I'm just going to check while I'm talking to make sure that you guys can see me okay. And the thing is that I think you get a choice of what you let into your home. I think that's the big part. The big tip, the big message I want to share with you today is, you get to choose what you let in and what you take on. And so hopefully I can give you some reminders today that you don't need to be taking it all on or letting it all in. So that's really the big part of it. And also, to be in your power during this process. So be in your place of power, not in the place of it's all happening to you. Somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose. Somebody's your person might win, your person might lose, and it can be pretty emotional. I think that it feels very much like there's so much at stake this year, and so it's hard not to take on that emotional aspect of the winner and the loser, and uh, I guess doom and gloom for the future if it doesn't go your way. But you get to choose how to handle that. And I've actually been doing a lot of thinking in advance about what I'm going to do if my person loses and how I want to show up either way, so that I'm not caught up in the emotion of it and maybe making choices that just aren't in my place of power. So I guess that would be my biggest thing, is to encourage you to think about that in advance. How do you want to show up? What do you want it to look like for you in either situation? If it wins, how can you be a good winner? If your person loses, how can you be a good loser? I guess, and think that through. I think that there's going to be a lot of, either way it goes, other people out there are going to make different decisions on how they act and behave and treat other people, and you can choose whether to take that on and absorb it, or whether to like kind of hold it out here and receive it and acknowledge it, and then not take it within and not let it into your house. So that's my first thought. And I think, for me this weekend, I'm doing a lot of energy clearing and energy preparation. I would be doing it anyway, even if there weren't election coming, because there's a beautiful second chance at a new full moon, at the second full moon of the month in it's actually tomorrow. And so I often do a lot of extra energy clearing and internal work and releasing and visualizing about what I want to set in my space and in my life. So I do that usually anyway, on the full moon. It just happens that this full moon is right before the election. And so I'm kind of amping up what my plans are for tomorrow and over the next couple days as the election approaches. I've got some of my own clearing tools here, which I'm going to share with you, so that if you don't do this often or aren't familiar or want some new ideas of what you can do, I'm going to share a whole bunch. The first thing I will say is, tomorrow on the new moon or on the full moon, take a moment to open the doors. It's going to be cold. It's going to be brisk if you're in the Northeast where I am, but it's so worth it. Open the doors, open the windows for a few minutes, even if it's just 5, 10, 15 minutes. um, on the full moon, to invite in that full moon energy is so powerful. And I like to go around and I'm kind of lazy lately. Lately, I kind of just go around and snap a towel throughout each room and kind of just trying to create a vibration and shake things up a little bit. A lot of people will use a percussion instrument like a drum or or another percussion instrument, but you can go through and just clap with your hands in each room to kind of shake up and break up the energy and clear out any heaviness or negativity or anxiety or anything that's been building up, especially during this election season. I also have a bell. I have a chime that I use sometimes. Other people will use Tibetan bells or I forget what they're called, crystal bowls or other types of sound bowls that make noise. It creates a vibration in the space that changes the vibe. It shifts the vibe and kind of will push out some of the negative energy and make room for some of that positive energy of the full moon that you want to invite in. So tomorrow, if you have a chance, do that. Tap into and harness that full moon energy while it's here. It will really help. Take a moment to think about what you're releasing from the past and what you're not going to take with you into this next moon cycle. For me, it's worry and anxiety. Those are things that I would like to just kind of leave behind. And, think about what you're inviting in for the coming months, 5, 6 months even from now. I want to get really clear about what 2021 is going to look like. I feel like I think we all threw in the towel for 2020 and maybe have given up a little bit of hope and just kind of feel like we're going wherever we're taken. But I want to start to get a little bit more deliberate again, and especially into 2021, have some hope, have some planning, have some strategy about how I'm going to show up in this world. And so maybe you do that too. So do that on the full moon tomorrow. It's a great opportunity. And then I really encourage you to do it all again on the morning of the election. And I may do it a few times during the day if it feels like the energy is getting really dense and heavy or anxious. That's just my cure all. I open the doors and windows and I, snap a towel or ring a bell or blast some music or whatever, just to clear out that vibe and welcome in something different. You can also, on the full moon and on election day, to do some smudging would be great. I use sage. I have a sage wand here that I've kind of been saving for a special occasion, and I think it might end up being election day. I also have sticks of Palo Santo. These are both cleansing and clearing. I'm a little more cautious about using sage these days because it is over harvested. Palo Santo, I'm told, is very strictly harvested, and so it might be a better choice. If smudging isn't your thing, I also use incense sometimes. I have incense burning right now, but this is just great. It just clears the energy. It lightens up the energy a little bit, and it's a really powerful way to shift the vibe in a space. But if incense and smudging and really heavy scents like that don't appeal to you, another thing that I love to do is either diffuse essential oils. I have a couple of different diffusers through the house, and I have a large supply of essential oils. It happens to be kind of a bad habit of mine, but I will pull out essential oils based on how I'm feeling, and I'll use essential oils based on what I want to shift in the space. So if things are feeling heavy or anxious, and maybe it's kind of hard to lift your own mood, a lot of times I will choose like citrus oils like lemon or I love to use orange and grapefruit. Those are really fun. Hi Susan. She says, I'm diffusing my sage oil like crazy. Palo Santo is amazing. Yes, so you can even get the those as essential oils as well. Instead of smudging with the actual herb itself, you can get the essential oil and diffuse it through your space, and it's also cleansing and clearing. So if I usually use orange a lot because I like to try to jumpstart our It's a very joyful, energizing, and uplifting scent. So, but if you don't have essential oils and you don't have things to burn, then you can always pick up a plant. This is lavender, yeah, lavender here. Um, I actually have rosemary. This is one of my favorite herbs, and I keep this by our front door. Historically, herbs were used a lot to kind of keep germs at bay. Um, and I think that's really important right now too. We're fighting so many battles, right? We got the election battle going on, we got the pandemic battle going on. Um, yeah, the homeschool battle. Is anybody facing that right now? But anyway, so having fresh herbs in your house is great. I think that it kind of does do a little bit to help keep the germs at bay. And I like to just, if I don't have a diffuser going or the smudging going on, I'll just drop these in some steamy water. And sometimes I will take some orange peels too and put those in the water too. And just let it simmer on the stove. And it is really just as energizing and uplifting, sometimes even more so because it's less processed than all the other options. So keep that in mind if you are looking for something to just, like everything feels really heavy, open up your cabinets and figure out what you can pull out and simmer on your stove. And it changes. Trust me, try it. You'll love it. Salt is another thing I use, especially if I don't want to be burning things. This is Himalayan sea salt. I will probably proactively set out a few bowls of salt around my house on Monday night and Tuesday, and maybe switch it up during the day if I need to. Salt is really energetically cleansing for spaces and for people. And I'll tell you the story. I actually, part of my past history, my past life, I was getting my certification as a holistic practitioner and an energy healer. And we went to this super cool school in California, Sue, everything in California is so cool. But so we were at the super cool school, and the classes always started with kind of this opening session where everybody could just check in and tell everybody where they were at. And I remember there was this one day where there was a woman there who was having a really hard time. She was super anxious and upset about something that was going on in her life, and like just unconsolable at the moment. And I remember the teacher went and she got a nice bowl of warm water and put some salts in it, put the bowl of water at this woman's feet and said, "Put your feet in the water." And literally it was like instant. You could see the energy, the sadness, all of the emotion that she was going through just dissipate and release. It was so powerful. And so I really love salt for that. If you are feeling really emotional on election day, draw a bath, or put some warm water in a nice bowl or bucket and just go stick your feet in the salt water. It will instantly clear you. It's just like going to the beach, like when you're walking along the beach and you go stick your feet in the salt water. It's amazingly clearing and cleansing, and it feels so good. So give that a try, especially if you're feeling like the energy and emotion is really building up within you or within your house. Salt is a great way to kind of keep it at bay. And then when you're done with the salt, don't just throw it in the trash, kind of gather it all up. I like to return it to the earth. I like to go outside, find a place where it's not going to, the animals aren't going to get into it, and I put it in the earth. And kind of, to me, it's like taking all that negative energy that's been absorbed, returning it to the earth, and I see the earth taking over and kind of transmuting the energy and letting something beautiful grow from it at some point. Sue says, "Come back." I would love to come back. Yeah, the salt story, Sabine, it was so powerful. It was just really amazing to watch. So it's been a go-to of mine for a long time. And I will say that, gosh, this year there's been so many situations where you just kind of want to break down and give up and cry. And everything from, kids having a really hard time with school and homeschooling and being emotional and tantrums and things like that, this is a great trick. So, sometimes I even will just, have them hold some salt in their hands for a little bit to calm down, quiet down. And it's really powerful in dissipating that, I don't know, that just like when you can't pull yourself together. It's a great thing to help you do that. I love crystals. I have crystals everywhere in my house. They're sort of built into my decor, I guess. I have lots of quartz. I have lots of rose quartz around the space. This is a new one of mine. This is called shungite. This is for purification and protection. It helps to neutralize negative energies and detoxify and ground you. And so I've been keeping this close to me lately, very close to me. I also have this labradorite. These are two new ones that I bought just recently. I can't figure out how to get in front of the camera. Labradorite, which is about transformation and grounding, and I feel like these have been sort of my go-tos for the last couple months, not just because of the election and anxiety and the pandemic, but just personal things that I've gone through. These were really calling to me. And so I carry these with me, and I highly recommend, if you are drawn to crystals, do a little bit of research, find one that you think will be very helpful to you on that day, and carry it around with you. Or place it in your house somewhere. I often will have crystals on my body, in my pockets, wherever, to just kind of absorb the energy. And I will definitely be wearing some crystals on Tuesday. I also have lots of crystals kind of secretly hidden around my house. I do an annual, sometimes more than annual, protection crystal grid around my house itself. And the two crystals that I always include in that are selenite, which is also protective. This is also, it's not just protective, it's very uplifting and energizing and cleansing to negative energies. And so I keep selenite around my house. I have it in the four corners of my house. I also use black tourmaline, which is protective and shielding. And so I actually keep the two of these. Oops, I can't figure out how to be in front of the camera. I keep the two of these together in the four corners of my house, and to me, the selenite represents angelic protection, and the black tourmaline represents protective for earth, more like earth protection and protection from negative energies. So there's so much that you can do. I think what's important to me, I mean, I love this stuff anyway. I love the essential oils. I love the herbs. I love, making, different noises and shaking up the vibration. I love the crystals. And all of these are kind of rituals that are part of my life. And I know that when I remember to call on these extra tools and to put some rituals in place on a day like Election Day, it really helps me. It really helps me ground and helps us kind of feel more empowered through whatever goes on, whatever the process is during the day. So hopefully those are some ideas that will help you, and you can put some things together, create your own little ritual, your own little protective shield for yourself and your home during Election Day. And the other thing I'll say is, again, you get to decide what you let in. And I want to remind you that when you are, checking your phone every 15 minutes during the day on Election Day, you're inviting in whoever that story is that you're reading about, or the people that you're interacting with. It's like inviting them into your home. You're just like bringing that energy into your home. And the same thing with television and radio. If you're turning on the TV, it's kind of like inviting those newscasters and their opinions and their thoughts into the room with you, and the people they're talking about, the candidates themselves, their energy comes into the space with you. And so it's just a reminder that you get to decide how much of that you want to let in, and you can temper it. So for me personally, I plan to kind of keep the TV off and the radio off, and probably try to limit my time on social media on that day, because I know it will help keep my personal energy up, and keep the energy of the space clear. And the other thing I think is great is if you can close off the news, like give the news, create a newsroom in your house, like create a place where you can go, turn on the news, watch it, turn it off, and leave, rather than letting it blast through the whole house. It's a little bit difficult for us. We have an open floor plan house, so if our main TV is on, it's really affecting the whole house. And so that's why for me, I try to limit, it's not on all day. We turn it on for a little bit and turn it off. And I really plan to be really careful about that on Tuesday especially. So Ingrid is asking, can I talk about how you charge your crystals on the full moon? Yeah, actually I do. So crystals are very healing on their own and cleansing on their own, but some crystals can really they can kind of pick up some of the sticky negative energy if they're in it for a while too. And so some great ways to clear them are to put them outside under the full moon. I don't do that. I actually put them in the window under the full moon, because I've had the experience of putting some crystals outside on a night that was too cold, and then going outside the next morning, and they had cracked. So they are kind of fragile to some degree, and so I keep them in temperate but behind glass, and to me it feels pretty powerful. Lisa Curtis, chocolate. I agree. I have lots of chocolate on hand. I'm sure that our chocolate supply will increase exponentially over the next 24 hours with Halloween being practiced. Even if it is going to be socially distanced, I think there will be some more chocolate consumption and lots of inventory of chocolate. So I highly recommend figuring out what it is that soothes you. Have that on hand, have some extra chocolate on hand, have a glass of wine on hand if that helps you, have some lemon water, have some calming teas, and make a plan. This like radical self-care over the next 3 or 4 days. I was just reading something. I don't know astrology very well, but I follow it quite avidly, and I usually don't know 95% of what they're saying I don't really understand, but what I do get is that over the next couple of days, especially around the full moon and the election, there are some seriously big energies happening astrologically, and there's huge potential energy. And so, but if you're not aware of it, and you don't pay attention to those things, you might just notice that everybody's getting mad at each other, or you don't have a lot of energy, or you're really feeling anxious and frustrated more than usual. And you can blame it on a whole bunch of other things, but please know that these natural unseen energies that are around you, whether it is from astrological energies or earth energies or the energy that's built up in your home, they are influencing you and how you are feeling and responding. And when you're aware of that, you can kind of, prepare. And so, we already know that election day is just going to be crazy, just because the whole last 4 years has been like that, and the last election was crazy. So we know that from experience, and so I'm bringing that into this topic and talking about how you can prepare for it, but also know that there's a whole bunch of other energy that's going on, and that if you're aware of it, you can help dissipate it and alleviate it and control it. And radical self-care is one of the ways to do that. So just be prepared to turn off your TV when you need to, take a nap when you need to, light a candle, journal, eat chocolate, scream into your pillow, whatever is required. Go for a walk, go outside. I really definitely do have plans to go take a walk outside, go hug a tree, whatever it takes on Tuesday. Especially if you're in a space that feels, I don't think we have school on Tuesday. No, we don't have school on Tuesday, but we still will be working in the house. Like everybody's house has transformed so much over the last few months. We have days where we have homeschool going on or remote school. My husband is working from home now. I'm still working from home now. But the energy of our house has changed, and we're really pushing the boundaries of our house, both physically and energetically. And so pay attention to that, and dissipate the energy. Don't let it get all built up. Clear it out. Like these rituals that I practice, if we weren't doing that, if I wasn't going through and clearing the energy regularly or keeping crystals out, I just don't know how it would be going. But to be honest, it's been going pretty well for us, and I think that it is because of all of these rituals that I practice, and extra things that I do with the essential oils and the crystals and the herbs and the smudging and the salts. I really think that makes a difference, and I am sure it will make a difference on Tuesday. If you haven't practiced, if all of this is new to you and you just pick one of these things and use it on Tuesday, I know it will help you have a better day. And these are things that apply across the board. Anytime that you are having a challenging situation, or the energy feels extra heavy at home, or you're not feeling as healthy or well, you can call on these things anytime and really shake up the energy. So all of these tools apply for keeping the vibe uplifted and energized during the pandemic and during homeschooling. When there are people not feeling well in the house and the energy is getting really heavy and people are anxious, these all can be tools that you can pull out and use to help shift the energy and empower yourself. To me, that's what Feng Shui and energy clearing are just more tools in my toolbox to help empower me to show up in my place of power instead of being a victim to what things are going on. So I'm never the one who will be a victim to Mercury retrograde and all those astrological things that can happen. I just show up with all my tools and figure out which one works best for me right now. And what works for me might be different for you. So that's why I give you all these suggestions, and put something together for yourself. Put together a little toolbox, even if it's just a mental toolbox of what am I going to do if I feel this way, ahead of Tuesday, so that you can be prepared. So I've got a couple more minutes. If anybody has any questions that they want to ask, go ahead. I'll stay for a few minutes and answer the questions. Lisa, it's so good to see you. Sue from California, awesome to see you. Sabine, thank you for being here. Ingrid, thank you. I love your question. So I'm going to stick around here for a minute. And I know last week when I was on, there were people asking questions and it wasn't showing up in my comments box. So I'm thinking that there's another place that this is showing up and I'm not seeing it. And I'm going to go check and see if I can find that so I don't miss anybody's questions this time. But go ahead and let me know if you have any questions. Sabine says, plan some good food. I totally agree with that. And, as tempting as it is to go for sweet treats and other things, maybe set yourself up with some healthy options too, so that you can really, the healthy options will support you better through the day. Emotional eating, yeah, let's try to avoid that. So if you have a plan for what you're going to eat that day and have available, it's really good. I think that's a great suggestion, Sabine, to just make sure that, sorry, let me turn this down. Make sure that you have a plan for what you're going to consume and how you're going to react when things get bad. I definitely will have some chocolate available, because that is one of the quick tips that helps me feel better for a short time, but also some healthy options for all of us. So awesome, you guys. Thank you very much for being here. I wanted to share with you that next week I'm going to come back. I'm going to be here again on Friday at 11. I think that's probably the day that's going to work best for me to do this weekly video. I really, for the moment, unless something else comes up, I think I'm going to talk about some tools that I use to cultivate my personal energy. This year has been challenging for me, for everybody, like for everybody. But for me, we had a really tough year. My father passed away, and our family went through a lot of transition and change and hard work and all kinds of things in response to that. And I used so many different tools to keep my own personal energy up and allow me to show up. And so I think I'm going to share some of those things. So that's my plan for right now. Unless something else comes up, I will talk about some tools that I use to cultivate personal energy, and when you're feeling low, feeling down, how to shift yourself into a better place. I feel like I became an expert on that in the last couple of months, and I also feel like people need some tips and tools for how to do that. So that's how I'm going to show up. I do have some spaces available for one-on-one work. I have Bagua mapping sessions. I am doing single session Feng Shui only. I had taken that down for a little while because I really feel like Feng Shui and energy clearing work so well together, but I've added it back in because I think people need it, and I want to make it available and affordable for people. So reach out to me if you are interested in that. It's very powerful, and you can always do the energy clearing on your own or in another session later. And of course, I also have my packages available, which are Feng Shui and energy clearing together. So if you need some Feng Shui support, if the things you've been doing aren't working, or you just know you need a jump start, reach out to me and we can schedule something. I've got a couple of spaces left between now and the end of the year, and this is always such a great time to really rethink and tap into the energy around you. Thanks everybody for being here. I will see you again next Friday, and have a safe and happy election day, and stay safe from all the other battles that we're fighting too. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.